Hello everyone, my name is The Fox. I am trying out a new camera right now, so I do apologize or if anything is out of whack. Please do let me know in the comments if anything is up. Right now we're going to be showing off Sauce's custom firmware for the RS-07, the Retro Arcade. This is running his latest version. Truthfully, this is a version I've had for quite some time now, but I've been waiting for him to release a package or a newer one before I went ahead and made a video. Now that it is available for the public, I thought I would go ahead and show you what is available on the unit. So very quickly, what everyone I think would be most interested in is going to be obviously the arcade type of stuff. So let's go ahead and run one arcade game that I really do like that I should really play to the end is Dungeons & Dragons made by Capcom. Right now we are running the Final Burn Alpha build of this. There is no MAME package for the RS-07 just yet. So the good news is that over on the Dinguni forums, just so that I can show you real quick, I don't really have many. Let me dispatch with these guys. So, just so you can see, I don't really have many options for lowering the volume. It kind of just goes off or on, really. So I do apologize if the volume is a little bit loud. It's a little bit out of my control. Alright, so that's Dungeons & Dragons. Let's see if we can't show you something else. Alright, so we'll run Captain Commando. Unfortunately, Metal Slug with the ROM set that I have is not working currently. Additionally, we should be running GNGO if we're going to be running Neo Geo games. It just runs better than using Final Burn Alpha. And GNGO is not currently in this custom firmware build. For what it's worth, there has been some pretty good updates to hopefully getting better performance out of these types of systems, both the RS-07, the Retro Arcade, and the RS-97. I'm brutalizing this guy's handle, I apologize. In any event, he is currently porting MAME for All 2.0 for these platforms. Additionally, from what he is working on, he is trying to get us to be able to access the IPU, the better 2D GPU, you could say. So instead of the CPU having to worry about scaling and everything, that can now rely on the IPU, and he is currently working on that. He said that he has it working, but nothing's released just yet. So it's just a little bit of waiting, which is fine. And I'll update you guys on that as that comes around. The good news is that Sauce, the person who has developed this custom firmware, has said that as soon as the IPU examples and source code become available, that he'll go ahead and start porting it to the other emulators, which should give us a huge, I hesitate to say huge, it should give us a performance benefit. So even when we run things like Super Nintendo, even on the RS-97, this is taking a little bit because it's loading a giant list of games. Let's go ahead and just take a look at Megaman X. I've already gone ahead and enabled the frame rate counter, and you'll see that we're not full frame rate, but we are doing decent enough, especially with frame skip, that it's not it's playable. It's very playable. It's not the best, but it is quite playable, and I'll show you that in a moment. The one thing that I do have qualms with is the button layout for the Super Nintendo I should actually just take a look and see if I can change that in the settings. I don't know if that is possible. Sound. No, it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's a part of... You can see that we're hovering around 45 FPS, which honestly with frame skip is not terrible. Sound wise everything's fine, and it doesn't feel that off, to be honest. To the degree that if I had turned off the frame skip, probably many people wouldn't even notice, as the Super Nintendo, even when it's playing, does show some frame dips around this scene, especially when we start doing some other stuff. But yeah, so this is Super Nintendo, and that's working just fine. Go ahead and get out of here. There's also some additional games that Sauce has ported. Let me back out. No, sorry. Goodness, get out of here. We'll go ahead and back out of this, and we'll go over to... So there's other, like, one-off games. So this is Cannonball. This is basically Outrun. Go ahead and start this. This is more of a, you'd say, like a port of the game itself. So this is trying to rewrite the engine for Outrun so that it can, obviously you can see that it supports the full screen resolution and everything is not scaled or stretched or anything. It's actually just running as it should on this display. So that's kind of neat. And this runs as well as you would expect. There's not really any problem with this whatsoever. It's just a nice arcade game that is included. Go ahead, and even things like Quake run really, really well. And formats just fine on this widescreen. Oh, wrong way. Obviously, we only have the shareware version in just yet, so you'd have to put the correct WAD or pack. And then you can look up and down with these buttons. Some weird clipping issues, but for the most part, totally playable. Let's see what else I can show you here. There's obviously Cave Story, Game Boy Advance. We'll see how some things run here. Let me just go ahead and select the game real quick. Alright, so go ahead and run Spy Hunter, which is the first arcadey type of game that I could think of to run on GBA, even though this really won't be the arcade version. Yes, please start the game.
Begin operation.
Son of a... No! Alright, so that's that. You can see that it's running in GBSP. So this is it, really. So there's a lot to like about the useless custom firmware that's made by Sauce on this right now. There's obviously a lot of people that have contributed to this and get this working, but it's coming along. I'm not too sure if or when we're going to see some immediate updates, but I do know that there are updates on the horizon. So there are still some good things coming our way to both the RS-07 platform as well as the RS-97. So really, no matter which one you choose, the RS-97, unfortunately, Cool Baby seems to be just doing things out of their way to make things difficult for the custom firmware to be working. If you can get an older version of the RS-97, that's going to be better. The newer ones have some problems running REGBA. So there's some stuff to be aware of. Please do your research beforehand, looking into stuff. I will be doing a full review of both the RS-07 and the RS-97. I'm just more or less waiting for a finalization to happen. But yeah, this is custom firmware to be looked at. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.